tips for sitting the exam in sections, both sections A and B. Make sure that you read the question carefully. For example, look for negatively worded questions. Which of the following is correct, or which of the following is incorrect, or which of the following is not correct? Make sure you read the question carefully, and always note if you're required to give more than one option. So select, several options might mean you have 2, 3, 4 to even choose from. As far as distractors are concerned, distractors are options that are not the right answer, but distractions in this exam, like all the other exams, to be honest, are designed to be tempting to you. So be careful not to fall into traps when it comes to distractors. If you're struggling to directly come up with the correct answer, there are a few approaches that you can take as an alternative. You can start off by narrowing down your options by eliminating what are definitely the wrong answers. Maybe sometimes work backwards from the options and see whether the options fit in with the scenario that you're being faced with. Just something I've noticed over time, that sometimes in a multiple choice question, if you've got two answers that are similar in some way, shape or form, often one of those is right because there's a subtle difference between them that represents a trap. If you're still stuck having tried all those things, just flag it and come back to it at the end, and just make sure you leave yourself a little bit of time at the end to go back to the flagged questions and have another think about them. Ultimately, even if you have to guess those questions, a guess is better than nothing at all. What I suggest you should do is book your exam right at the start of your study program. That gives you something to aim for, and it lets you know exactly how long you've got to study for, and therefore enables you to work out what you're going to do and when. Make sure you book the right variant, because there are several variants you could choose from. Make sure you practice on your computer using the Practice Tests Academy and ACCA software, so there's plenty of opportunity to practice in the environment of the real exam. Always do it to time. There's no point spending ages and ages and ages practicing questions because you're not going to have that time in the real exam. So always time yourself. Don't be tempted to stick to the parts of the syllabus that you know and like. It might make you feel confident, but unfortunately what you should be doing is focusing on the whole syllabus, because the whole syllabus is examinable. And in fact, particularly focus on the areas that you can't do before you go to the exam. And then in the exam, stick to what you can do. Learn mainly through question practice. So sitting and trying to learn a file worth of information is very difficult. It's very passive because your brain's not aware of any particular reason why you have to learn any one particular fact. If you work backwards from questions, that's a much more active process. So have a go at questions, and if you struggle with those questions, then dip into your file to help you. What is another good idea to do, I always used to do this, is keep a track of questions that you've done. And when you're answering questions in a question bank, don't write the answers down so that when you come back to those questions, you know what you said last time. So keep your answers away from the questions and keep a track of the ones you've got right and a track of the ones you've got wrong, so you can come back to them later on when you've given yourself time to forget what the right answer is, so you can work it out again. Keep a diary. Now, if you book your exam at the start of study, you'll know how many days and weeks you've got between the start of study when you're sitting your exam. And it's important to say what you're going to do on each one of those days. Now, I'm not saying you have to work every single day. You can book days off effectively in your diary, but when you make a booking for study, make sure that you stick to it. Put yourself first in this process. Now, when you are going through study sessions, always give yourself regular breaks, even if you don't feel like you need them. Perhaps every 10 or 15 minutes, just glance away from your computer screen for a few seconds, and then maybe every 3/4 of an hour to an hour, give yourself a proper 10-minute break. Stretch your legs and walk around, go to a different room, have a drink, even if you don't feel like you need it, and that will keep your energy levels up for a much longer period of time. When you're planning your time, plan output-based sessions. And what that means is, rather than saying, I'm going to sit and study law for 2 hours now, say to yourself, in this study session, I'm going to work through questions 50 to 80. And when they're done, and I've marked them, and I understand the answers, then I'm finished with that study session. Giving yourself output-based targets motivates you through the study session to keep going and to concentrate rather than just occupy the time in as inefficient a way as possible. And it also means that by the time you get to the exam, you're guaranteed to have covered the material that you would need to cover. Make sure you practice your questions as much as you can in the real CBE environment so it feels familiar when it comes to the real exam. Last thing to say, good luck, and I look forward to seeing you on the next course that you're sitting with Practice Tests Academy.